Hi, everybody. I'm Candid Frank Stanisci for Candid Frank Live. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate, leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs. 2016 forward. Now joining me as usual, the one, the only, Aaron William Freeland, and I'm just going to have to fix my camera. Unfortunately, my computer said, I don't like you, Frank, and I'm going to give you a hard time because I don't like you. So
it never seems to like you, Frank. It's like you and
technology
don't get along.
It's kind of a personality thing I have. It's a problem I have, and it kind of waffles on everything else, I guess. Yeah, no. How you doing, Aaron?
So
I got my Schmidt together.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I didn't see any mention of Captain Kirk in your news items. So can we start with Captain Kirk? Did you check that out? Did you hear his speech? Did you see how awesome it was and how excited?
I did. It was fantastic. I thought it was hilarious that they take the oldest astronaut ever and then made him climb a dozen flights of stairs just to get to the top of the rocket.
Did you hear what he said? I didn't think I'd make it into the rocket.
Well, the good news is he did touch down safely as well, and everybody wearing red shirts on that particular flight were A-OK.
Absolutely, they were, and he really was. He was very emotional. He was actually tearing up at one point. Okay, let's get to the good news, which is sports, and we'll start with the Canadian Football League. 3 players were named top performers of the week. One of them was an Argo. One of them was let me see, I guess Winnipeg and Kadeem Carey as well.
Yeah, so that would be Calgary. Winnipeg was Andrew Harris. Toronto was Dexter McCoyle, and Calgary was Kadeem Carey. That was particularly awesome. Harris had his first 100-plus rushing yard game of the season as his Blue Bombers extended their win streak to 6 when they beat Edmonton on Friday, 30-3. So that's a good thing. McCoyle had 12 tackles, a sack, and a tackle for a loss when the Argonauts won in Hamilton on Monday. And Carey got 178 all-purpose yards to power the Stampeders to a 22-19 win on Saturday. So that's all to the good.
You notice I'm in casual wear.
Yep, I noticed that today.
Now, this is all accidental because I just was looking at what I was wearing because I wasn't sure what I was wearing, and I noticed it says California on it, and I got that from California. That subject's going to come up momentarily. Let's stick with the National Hockey League and our Canadian teams first, and we'll start with our localist team, and that is the Toronto Maple Leafs. Marner went off the ice, and some concern.
Well, he's currently being listed as a game-time decision on Daily Faceoff. In their line combinations, they actually have him supposedly on the first line with Tavares and Ritchie. Then you've got Bunting, Kerfoot, and Nylander, Engvall, Kampf, and Kasha, and Simmons, Amadio, and Spezza. So that's all to the good. Timothy Liljegren hasn't drawn in yet. We've got Riley and Brody, Muzzin and Hall, and Sandin and Dermott. And on the back end, between the pipes, Campbell's going to be getting the start over Mrazek.
And then we've got the Montreal Canadiens who just signed Nick Suzuki. We talked about it earlier. I really like this deal. This is a good deal. $63 million over 8 years. This is somebody they're projecting as their number one center. So that would be your most expensive center on the team is $8 million, 7.9.
Well, I heard a lot of excitement about him, but the other thing to notice is that Spezza had more points than him last season, and Spezza signed for league min. So draw what conclusion you will from that, besides the fact that Suzuki's got about a dozen years on him.
Left.
Yeah.
Yes, a dozen years left. Yeah, no kidding. I still like him. I like what he did in the playoffs, and you know what? I'm a show me guy. I'm not one of those guys that likes people say, but he will. Trust me, he will. I promise, he will. I like the guys that actually deliver. They're the guys
He's an
I
exciting
like.
player to watch, though, Frank. I'm really happy for him, and I'm
glad
he's
a good kid too. You know, he's a really good kid, a clean player, hard worker, doesn't complain, and does what it takes. You know, him and Caulfield are going to be, you know, a dangerous twosome.
Here's what I find interesting. You know who could really use a center right now? Las Vegas. Do you know who traded Nick Suzuki?
Yeah, but they traded him for a center, right?
They traded him for Pacioretty. So, you know.
They traded him for another oldie, right? It is what it is. We also have the issue with the Oilers. They made a couple of signings and put somebody on injury reserve. Cassian and Archibald are on injured reserve.
Yeah,
This is the team that the experts are picking to win the cup.
yeah, no, and Cassian was involved in a particularly brutal fight in one of their preseason games, so I'm not
Yes, he
surprised that
was.
he's currently on there. As for the other forward that's gone on injured reserve, Josh Archibald, that looks to be more long term. So we'll see how that pans out for them.
Jets signed forward Evgeny Svechnikov to a 1-year, two-way contract. I thought he'd be better. I thought he was better than a two-way contract, Aaron. That kind of surprises me.
This was a bit of a surprise too. It's a 1 year, 2 year deal. Now this is not that Svechnikov. This is the other Svechnikov.
Oh, there's another Svechnikov.
Yeah, this isn't the lacrosse goal Svechnikov. This is the
No, that's not who
Svechnikov
I
that played
meant.
for Detroit.
No, that's not who I thought it was. I'm sure I know the Winnipeg guy that it is, and he came with a little more. Well, he's not as good as him. I see what you're saying. No, he's not as good as him.
Yeah,
but I'm just surprised that he's in on a two-way contract. You know, Russians don't usually come in on a two-way contract because they can just go to the KHL if they're not going to play in the big league. You know, just like Gusev did with the Leafs.
yeah, no, and you're right. This was a bit of a surprise to me, especially the fact that he's only signing a $750K deal.
Yeah.
But it may be that he's banking on himself this year and hoping to duplicate a bit of the performance that he had with the Grand Rapids Griffins to maybe earn himself back onto the team. So
and he wants to be in North America. I bet that's part of it too.
It's probably a goodly chunk of it. Yeah.
Kraken opened inaugural season with wild but unsuccessful night in Vegas. They were behind 3-0. They tied it up, but then ended up losing 4-3. And then there was a question about a goal that was kicked in.
Not so much. It's very hard to kick a puck in with the outside of your skate. Speaking from personal experience, that looked more like a redirection. I don't know if you actually happened to catch the pregame there, Frank, but
yes, I did with the Kraken getting burnt up by the Vegas night.
That was definitely something. You were going to say?
Well, I was just going to say that I agree with you. That was that, you know, just because the leg, like, see, the kicking motion, when people talk about the kicking motion, they're talking about a kicking motion when it comes straight ahead. Like, that's a kicking motion. A side swipe is not the kicking motion. So you can't kick in with the side of your skate. Not because Aaron can't do it, folks, but because it's really not the kicking motion, because it's really what it is. It's redirection, like you said, or swiping, if I can throw another word in there. You can swipe the puck into the net with your stick, with your skate, I'm sorry, but you can't kick it with the toe of your skate. And the whole point of it is danger, right? Danger. If people start kicking their feet straight ahead, right? But a side swipe is fine. It's also like a redirection, and a lot of the redirects give a little bit of a side swipe too, right, to push the puck a little faster. So exactly. I agree with you. That was a clean goal.
No, as far as we're concerned, and it was great to see the comeback too. I saw them down 3-0, and I'm like,
absolutely.
Well, short end of the straw for the Kraken, but
the octopus relives. Yeah, that was really good opening. You're right, but you know, like everybody says, Vegas knows how to do a show.
Indeed. They
do openings every day and closes. They do it all. They do it all the time. Kristen Jarry was, you know, he's been a question as to whether he can carry the Pittsburgh Penguins. He did it last night.
This was a really interesting game. You start with the fact that in the third period, with about 6 minutes left, John Cooper just decided to pull the goalie. Do you realize there were 5 goals that were scored in this game with a goalie out?
Jeez.
Now, 3 of the goals were scored on Tampa, but they also happened to score both of their goals with the goalie pulled. So,
you know,
you talk about a carnival.
The other thing is, pretty soon, I don't know if they're going to need a crane to lift up the Stanley Cup banner. That thing was huge. You see it?
It was almost as big as Nashville's division-winning banner.
Oh boy! Oh, that's a low blow, but okay, we'll let that one ride. Islanders. I don't know what the GM did wrong, but they're opening the season with 13 road games. But that's because they're waiting for the UBS building to be completed, I guess.
Yeah, it's not 100% complete yet. There are still some finishing touches and creature comforts that need to be put in before it's 100% ready to go. And they obviously want to make sure that all of the electricals and the display boards and everything else is functioning correctly before they open it up to the public. So uh, it's a bit of a pain for them because they're not actually going to be playing at home until November 20th. But at the same time, it gives them a chance to make sure that everything is as it should be.
Yeah, San Francisco isn't as big a giant as they could have been if they would have won yesterday, and you could say LA dodged a bullet. It's 2-2 now, pun
Yep.
intended.
It's absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad to see this go to 5 games because it's truly been an awesome series to watch. And I know I use that word a lot, but in this particular case here, you've seen players left hanging. You've seen players' inability to advance the runner, and some fantastic catches in the outfield. This series has really had everything. So I'm not at all disappointed it's gone 5.
This coming from an old guy, Tony La Russa, went after referee. He threw at him. He was chasing him on his walker. No, just kidding. That's mean. That's okay. I'm old too, so I'm thinking he was very unhappy with the pitching of that eliminated his White Sox. He felt his player was thrown at.
Yeah, and Jose Abreu did get hit high on the left shoulder with a pitch,
Yeah.
but based on the pitcher's reaction after the ball left his hand, I don't think it was intentional. It's nobody. You don't deliberately aim for anybody in baseball. I've found. I know it doesn't matter how good your controller. You're never looking to plunk anybody. That's just not cricket.
Freddie Freeman launches Braves into NLCS, sorry, with an eighth inning winning run. I'm gonna screw my teeth in.
Yeah, no, it was an absolute moonshot that he hit. It was absolutely fantastic. It was, there was a hand injury to Devin Williams. Josh Hader had to come in and just got torched. So what can you do? But it was a great series. So now the Braves, Freddie Freeman did his thing.
The NBA and they're really going to the wall with this thing where if you don't get vaccinated, you can't play. It's really becoming serious. Kyrie Irving has views.
Yep. And the team has actually announced that he will not be playing for them unless he gets his COVID-19 vaccine or New York City lifts its mandate.
Right. If a player can't play for every game, they're not playing for the team. That's the determination by that team. And you can't blame them for thinking that.
And I mean, you're getting paid enough to do that. You may as well earn your money and play every single game. It was interesting, actually. They asked James Harden in a press conference today if he talked to Kyrie Irving since Kyrie had been told he hadn't played, and Harden straight up said, "Nah, I haven't talked to him."
There you go. I'm not sure I want to broach this subject because it pains me, and I'm very angry and frustrated and upset. Canada should have won against Jamaica. And they deserved the win. I really think they got jobbed by the officiating, in my opinion. It really did. And now it becomes really important because now they're in 4th place. They tied for the most part. Aaron, we're happy that they came away with tie. With the Mexico, the U.S. But it's starting to look like that tie to Jamaica could be a problem because now they have to beat Panama. They can't tie Panama.
No, they don't have a choice. They have to beat Panama in order to advance. They're 1-0-4 at this point, and that's just not going to cut it. I know Panama's essentially stuck to the same starting lineup for all of the 5 games that it's played so far, and they're looking to get back to the World Cup after they made their debut in 2018. So it's going to be a hard-fought game at BMO Field tonight, and I'll be keeping an eye on that.
They've got it. So will I. They have to win, and they have to. There'll be a crowd there, right? What do you project as the crowd number there? What kind of support are they going to get tonight? Do we have to call these people? Do we have to call these people and make sure that they are ready to support the Canadian team? Because Canada needs to be supported totally in this game. We got to make it to the World Cup. I'm sorry. That's got to happen.
No, especially at this point with this team and with some of the players being the ages that they are, this is quite literally their last kick at the can, because 4 years from now, some of these players won't be able to keep it at the same level.
Yeah, see, because
So
I
it's
want
got
them
to happen now.
I want them to end up in the group with England and France and kick both their behinds.
That would be interesting.
You get it? England and
Uh-huh.
France. Yeah, that's just my, Canada be the boss when it comes to English and French. Why not? Right? Yeah, no, I really hope that that they can do something against Panama. They beat them in Panama. They cleaned their clock, right? If I remember correctly, wasn't it something like 6-0?
Something to that effect. It was
Right?
it was
I
a
think it was like
decisive victory. Yeah.
it was like 6-0. So Panama's going to come back really, pissed, vim and vinegar, and I think Canada should at least remember that they handled them real well and just play their game. And I hope, they don't. I hope they respect Panama to know that that's not the team that they beat 6-0. That one that they're going to meet tonight. That's really important. That they have just enough respect to play the kind of defense we've seen them play. Because I'm really happy with their midfield. Their midfield's been great, and their offense, Aaron. I think this is a fair statement. Folks can argue with me. We still haven't seen the best of their offense.
No, most definitely not. This is you haven't seen everything that Team Canada can do. There have been flashes of brilliance.
They've
But if
thrown
we
away
could put it all
opportunities.
together, if they
They've
just
thrown
put it
away
together.
opportunities. If they could just cash in on a couple of them, especially the great players that they have. Davies is an incredible player. Now he's playing through injuries, so a lot of people are wondering, well, why he doesn't seem to be as good as people think he is. Well, I think he's playing through injuries, and hopefully he'll heal a little bit. A, B, the guys that were sat out because of fear of being eliminated or red carded out of the game may come back into the lineup. The lineup that Herdman put in was a weaker lineup that he put in against Jamaica. Fair?
I think that's a fair assessment.
So he can put a stronger lineup in tonight, right?
Well, that's the other thing they need to be aware of too, is that Panama is also icing their sorry for the term, but they're fielding a physical battle hardened side.
Was the icing really a poor Panama's reference to the fact that you're not talking about hockey?
Yeah, it's bleed over. The first game of the season.
I think the next game that Canada plays will be a fun one when Jamaica goes to Edmonton.
Ooh.
They might have to field their bobsledders. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Dwayne Provo named Associate Deputy Minister of African Nova Scotian Affairs.
So there was a bit of a kerfuffle over the previous African Affairs Minister for Nova Scotia, mainly because dude was whiter than white. For those of you who don't remember, Dwayne Provo actually used to play in the CFL. He was a defensive back, and now he's in politics. So it's good to see. Now, he did run as a conservative in Preston, but he wasn't actually successful in being elected in 2006 and 2009. But he has worked in education administration, most recently with Nova Scotia's Board of Ed, where he advised the head of the province's education centers on issues facing Black students. So he said he's excited to begin the new role.
I forgot to mention San Francisco, LA. That was the whole point of that. Is done.
Oh, okay.
Houston government picks July 15th, 2025 for the next election.
Yeah, so this is the newly installed government. They've decided that they're actually going to pursue set legislation that will mandate that elections happen every 4 years. So this is new for Nova Scotia, but it falls in line with Canadian legislation as well that mandates that we have elections every 4 years.
Okay, I read this one. And I'm sorry, I got to clean my glasses because I still don't believe what I'm looking at. A Spanish hospital diagnosed a woman with, am I reading this right? Homosexuality?
Yes, apparently she was diagnosed as having the gay. It's one of those bizarre stories. Basically, she said, I went in and I spoke to the doctor about an issue that I was having, and the hospital listed her illness as being a homosexual. So they said, we apologize. We didn't mean to diagnose her as gay. That was actually supposed to be part of the information that was apparently written down in a different part of the doctor's diagnosis. Now, the lady herself wasn't upset.
Was she even gay?
Yes. Oh, she came out
Oh,
and told
okay,
him
all
right
right.
off
So
the
at least
hop,
they
"I'm
got that
gay."
straight. At least they
Yeah.
got that straight. Okay.
Yeah, I guess it was a
So the
second opinion that
diagnosis
confirmed it.
was right.
They've reconfirmed my orientation. Thank you.
I went into the doctor's office to find out whether I was straight or not. He said, "Nope, Frank, you're not straight. I'm sorry."
No, you're not having period problems. You're gay.
Oh no, I'm not gay. There's a whole new. I think they're going to have to add. I'm going to be the first one on the page that they add a whole nether section. So it's just it's okay. Look, we're making fun. I think when it comes to something like this, I truly believe that the hospital did make a mistake. It's just when they make a mistake like that, it's like, for me, I don't know about you when you read that, it's almost like a relief, because this is one of those ones where you go, somebody did that and they're feeling like idiots, right? And I'm laughing at the fact that somebody made that mistake. I believe totally it was a mistake, because I just don't see I don't see I don't see that diagnosis coming in a hospital. I just don't see it.
No, it's
I
one
just
of
don't see
those
it.
unfortunate errors. But
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. But it's good to know that the diagnosis that they didn't make was correct. French cloud outage is worst possible IPO weather. Uh-oh.
Yeah, so there was a bit of a server farm fire for OVH Cloud, who are actually getting ready to go public. So they've been having a bit of an issue making sure that value stays up, just based on the fact that they've had issues with uptime. So
Dean Cain, former Superman, slams DC Comics over Superman coming out. I say they're bandwagoning.
yeah, Dean is upset about the fact that his son in the comics, this is John Kent, who is the son of Clark Kent and Lois Lane, has come out as bisexual. And yeah. So he says, well, you're not really handling the real issues, like why we have refugees. You're fighting climate change. I don't see that that's important. And making him gay is just sort of bandwagoning and hopping on the feel good thing.
Well, there's some truth to what he's saying, Aaron. There's some truth to what he's saying. Like I'll probably get raked over the coals for this comment, but not everybody's gay. Just like not everybody's straight. So everything doesn't have to be about being gay. Everything doesn't have to be about being straight. It just seems that we're overcompensating sometimes. And I think that's really, what Dean Cain's trying to say, is that the bandwagoning part is we're trying to be cool. Now, if there's nothing wrong with Superman coming out, don't get me wrong, but it is, the question has to be asked is, does everything have to be gay? It doesn't relate. It's like, the data doesn't say that everybody's gay. So not everybody has to be gay. There can be straight people. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. U.S.-Canada land border opening. Oh, this is cool.
Yeah, so it's scheduled to open the 1st of November. However, there's no word for those of us that have had mixed vaccine doses. So
absolutely. Province injects millions into healthcare.
So this is actually something going on in Western Ontario. In the Chatham-Kent Health Alliance, the government's giving them another $2 million to spend on capital projects.
And by the way, Aaron, speeding to go get a vaccine, there's no excuse. Thanks for everything today, buddy.
No worries, Frank.
For Aaron William Freeland, I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching Candid Frank Live, Aaron Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Candid Frank Live, other news, entertainment, and sports programming we offer, please check out SpanglishWorld.ca. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Thanks for watching. Ciao for now.